Ted is known to us all as a great media innovator and pioneer. He said he wants to tackle some easy issues like nuclear disarmament, climate change, and the role of multilateralism. So in 25 minutes, I think we should cover that all quite easily. I wanted to start by asking you to talk a little bit about what you think the role of the media can be and how we're doing right now in helping to launch a U.S. and a global conversation about these big issues you're so engaged in.
Well, trying to say the media is composed of some very fine works of journalism and some that are not so fine. But in a pluralistic society, democratic society, I think we're best served by having a competitive media that appeals to lots of different people. And one of the things that does concern me about the media is with the demise of newspapers, and I say that sadly because at 70 years old, I grew up with newspapers, even though I predicted 30 years ago that this was going to happen. We're not going to have very many newspapers left because it's such an obsolete way of distributing information. It's hard to believe it's delivered by hand. It's like telephone booths. When's the last time you used a telephone booth or a payphone? Hardly. It's gone. And when's the last time you used a film camera? Everything's digital now. So technology has moved, and it's left the newspapers in a lot of trouble. It's so much easier and cheaper and quicker to distribute the same information electronically. So bye-bye newspapers.
I'm interested in your point about interest in America in global news. Do you think that that's declining? And is there a way to bring Americans more into the global conversation?
I think it is. Just remember, just about everyone, most people are most interested in, the further the news is away from them, the less they're interested. Most people are more interested in local news than they are in national news. And they're more interested in national news than in international news, unless there's some really big story like a flood or an earthquake or a tsunami or whatever. It is and we need to be informed. There's never been a time in our history where humanity needed access to better information, and not just access to it, but watching it and learning it, because these issues, we may very well screw global warming and nuclear disarmament up. We may not have them, and one reason that we won't, if we don't, is because people didn't take the time to inform themselves, or just lacked the interest, or were just too lazy, and it's going to determine whether we survive or not. I think in the next 50 years or next 20 to 50 years, it's going to determine whether or not civilization makes it or not. And we need to be at our very best right now. And whether we're going to be up for it or not, I don't really know. Stay tuned.
Over the next 20 or 30 years, we will see if humanity is able to rise to these huge challenges of climate change and nuclear disarmament.
Stop doing the dumb things and start doing the smart things.
But you also said that you're quite optimistic.
Don't be stupid.
So why are you optimistic? Why do you think we're going to be
able to
do this?
We do have global networks, and information today goes around the world in seconds. And I just this morning I was over at the UN, and the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon spoke first, and he mentioned nuclear disarmament and global warming and all the things that I just mentioned. And then Obama dealt with them. We heard him speak for the first time at the UN. He did a wonderful job.
Do you think that with the election of President Obama, do you see America returning to multilateralism?
We'll be able to tell more, in 3 or 4 years. But I think he's off to an amazingly good start in got good spirit and esprit de corps, and I like him a lot.
And you're not one of the people who worries that healthcare could be his Waterloo?
Well, I mean, Waterloo, schmoo. We need health care. Let's do it. I mean, we're the only first world country that doesn't have universal health care, and it's a disgrace.
On climate change, what's the single thing that you would like to see the U.S. do? The
thing that the whole world needs to do is move away from coal and oil. We need to use natural gas as a transition fuel to clean solar and wind, and probably geothermal and some of the other technologies. But it's time to say goodbye to the fossil fuel age, like telephone booths. It served us well for 200 years. But it's time to move on, because we're just polluting the atmosphere and we're poisoning our environment, and we can't keep doing that.
What about a gasoline tax? Wouldn't that be? What about a tax on gasoline?
Well, we got tax on gasoline. You mean more tax on? Yeah. Well, I'd like to see right now, because they've been there for a long time. The fossil fuel industry gets a lot of subsidies of different kinds, and I'd like to see those subsidies phased out and phased in for what we want to replace it with, the solar and wind power. And a new smart grid, so we can move the power around. That's going to cost quite a bit of money. It'd be almost akin to building the federal interstate highway system, because we have to move the energy that we're going to generate from solar in the southwest, where the sun shines all the time, and from the Great Plains, where the wind blows the strongest, to the major metropolitan areas of New York and Chicago, Miami, and so forth. And for that we're going to need a new smart grid. Our current grid and power systems taking coal-fired electricity, they were designed for different needs, and we're going to have to replace them. But that's going to spend a lot of money locally and provide a lot of jobs and help us get out of this recession quickly, because we're going to build something that we need. I was in Washington last week calling on members of the House and Senate, and I'm going to spend time there lobbying for the strongest clean energy bill that we can get.
Organizations like MoveOn.com and social networks that help us to be connected to the political process, how effective do you think they are right now? Are they changing politics?
I like the personal touch. I'd rather be talking to somebody face to face than communicating on the internet. But it is easy, because you don't have to answer a lot of questions.
I think we're coming to an end here.
Thank God.
I didn't think it was that bad. I was the one who took the pain. You said bye-bye newspapers.
I'm going right over to the Clinton global thing. That's the reason I'm leaving now. We're going to announce that Saudi Arabia is giving $30 million to help finish the eradicating polio. So I'm supposed to sit there.
Is that a news? Is that breaking news?
I think it is.
Have you broken the embargo?
I might have, and this is on the record. But only by 20 minutes.
Still, 20 minutes in the internet age.
It means a lot. That's true.
What is your involvement in this polio initiative?
Well, I've been in favor of eradicating polio and working for it and contributing to it for 30 years.
And how did you persuade the Saudis? How did you persuade the Saudis to get it?
I didn't do it myself. Tim Wirth did. He told them, it's 99% eradicated. But if we don't finish the job, and the pockets where it's still endemic or still exists are in the Muslim world, in Pakistan and in Nigeria primarily, but a few other countries. But most of them are Islamic countries, and Saudi Arabia is the richest Islamic country, so they've got the money. So Tim spoke to them, and they agreed to take the leadership in this round. There are a lot of people involved in this that have put up a lot of money, Rotary International being one. The UN Foundation's put up some, and the World Health Organization's been involved, and a number of others, the Gates Foundation.